Welcome to SVG Television News and Sports for Monday, March the 10th. I'm Jimmy Prince for the details. Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves took up his seat as the chairman of CARICOM at today's 25th intersessional meeting of the CARICOM heads. Prime Minister Gonsalves said the success of the CARICOM enterprise begins with political leadership, but does not end with it. As he challenged his colleagues to look to a brighter future, the Vincentian Prime Minister said the meeting's long agenda seeks to improve the quality of life in each CARICOM state. We get more in this report.
The next 2 days, the Bookament Bay Resort will serve as the meeting ground for the 25th intersessional meeting of the heads of government of CARICOM. Among the issues to be discussed is climate change, foreign policy, security, air and sea transport. Other issues include reparations and medical marijuana. Unrealistic expectations are bound to lead to failure was the advice given to attendees of the 25th intersessional meeting of CARICOM heads by its new chairman, Dr. Gonsalves. Highlighting the community's successes and failures, the Vincentian Prime Minister said that there were many issues to tackle on a unified front.
We must first love and care for CARICOM. Secondly, we must ensure that the organs of the community work as intended and that its decisions are implemented in each nation state of the community. And thirdly, that the political leaders and populations in each nation state possess the requisite political will for CARICOM's optimal functioning as structured.
Meanwhile, in his opening address, Secretary General of CARICOM urged his fellow colleagues to continue on the path of togetherness. The ambassador highlighted that regional integration was pivotal to the sustainable development of CARICOM states, as without the region's human resource capacity, there would be no growth.
Honorable heads of government, the sense of unity and solidarity which brings us together at the best and worst of times must now be the central force that drives us to find a route to ignite growth in our economies. We must summon that spirit of community, that clear understanding that we are all in this together. We are all CARICOM. We must be proud of what we have created as a community and embrace that sense of being part of that community by identifying with it unreservedly.
And outgoing chairman of CARICOM, Kamla Prasad-Visesa, bestowed her good wishes on the community's incoming chair, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves. The Trinidadian Prime Minister reminisced on her final acts as chairman, where she led the delegation to the memorial of the late South African President Nelson Mandela. She added that later this year, her own country will host a commemorative week for the late president.
In the month of July, we will share the dates with you when we intend to have a week of activities commemorated and celebrating the life of Nelson Mandela and Nelson Mandela Week in Trinidad and Tobago. Allow me, Mr. Chair, to formally thank Ambassador Larrock and the entire Secretariat of CARICOM for their sterling work and support during the last 6 months. And to Chair, we hand over to you and wish you every success, Prime Minister Gonsalves.
The 2-day session will conclude tomorrow. CARICOM members include Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Suriname and Trinidad and Tobago. Other observing countries are also present. For SVG-TV News, I am Zulika Lewis.
Well, while CARICOM leaders were at the Bookament Bay Resort discussing a series of matters pertinent to Caribbean development and integration, a peaceful protest was being staged less than a mile away to bring attention to the political impasse in St. Kitts Nevis. However, in an interesting twist, some of the protesters were clueless as to why they were picketing. More in this report by Jamisha Wright.
Ahead of a joint media conference organized by the local opposition New Democratic Party and the Team Unity of St. Kitts and Nevis, supporters and well-wishers of both political parties have converged protesting outside the greenhouse in King Grove near to the Bookament Bay Resort, where the CARICOM heads of government are currently hosting a 2-day conference. Talk about St. Kitts! St. Kitts! Opposition Leader Arnim Eustace.
Yes,
How are you doing this morning? What are we doing here? And what message are we trying to communicate to the CARICOM heads?
Well, we are protesting the treatment being meted out to St. Kitts and Nevis, or the non-treatment by the heads of government of CARICOM. There is not anybody in CARICOM nowadays who don't know what is happening in St. Kitts. We have had a constitutional issue there, parliamentary issues, and those who command the majority in the House, elected members, are now in the minority. And a government which is a minority government is continuing to operate in St. Kitts and Nevis. That is unacceptable.
On your left is the leader of Team Unity in St. Kitts, Dr. Timothy Harris. Tell us, why you chose this time to come to St. Vincent. What exactly are you trying to communicate both to the Vincentian people and also the CARICOM heads?
Well, now is a good a time as any to come to St. Vincent and, as it were, to sensitize the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the wider CARICOM community about what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, the subversion of democracy there. Of course, it provides a golden opportunity, one, to especially thank and express the gratitude of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to the Honorable Arnim Eustace for the heroic leadership role he has been playing in agitating on behalf of St. Kitts and Nevis for the restoration of the democratic order. And we are coming in the midst of this 25th intercessional. Therefore, we are ensuring that we signal to the heads that the St. Kitts and Nevis matter will not go away and they need to adjust it.
You're all locals, right? You're all Vincentians. Yes. Tell us why you're out here today. You're hiding your face with the placard.
Oh, sorry.
Tell us why you're out here today.
I'm out here to demonstrate for St. Kitts.
Why you see the need to lend such a support to St. Kitts?
Because they are very important, and we are all one country.
Tell us, why are you out here today?
Well, I can't even say why really, because I didn't know it was this thing. I just think it was just a normal meeting. But anyhow, never mind, I come still and enjoying myself. And it's so good to be out here looking at the platform and everything and demonstrating with St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't know what is the problem really, but I just come and support it still.
All right. How about you? You're lending some support to St. Kitts and Nevis? You carrying a placard that says "Free St. Kitts and Nevis."
Yes, I'm here to free St. Kitts and Nevis. We are one Caribbean people.
All right. How about you?
I'm here in support of St. Kitts and Nevis because we're all one Caribbean community, and we have a minority government ruling St. Kitts and Nevis, and I think that the majority should be given the chance to run St. Kitts and Nevis.
And the supporters of Team Unity and the New Democratic Party then held a joint media conference in the vicinity where the heads of government meeting was being held. The conference was reportedly broadcast live in St. Kitts and Nevis and neighboring St. Lucia.
The doors of the greenhouse during the media conference, the leader of the New Democratic Party, Arnim Eustace, described today as a very important one in the life of the people of the Caribbean, as democracy in St. Kitts and Nevis has been under threat for the past 15 months. Eustace said, and he's calling on CARICOM to get out of his silence and act now.
This disruption, or this tear in the political fabric of St. Kitts threatens to unravel CARICOM and the OECS sub-regions. We talk a lot about the integrity of our democratic process, but that strength is only as strong as is vibrant in our weakest member. Our fraternity, which is now disordered, we call it CARICOM, instead concerns itself with the state of democracy in Venezuela and even more remotely in the Ukraine. I'm now hearing talk about Turkey. I ask the following. 1. Whence does CARICOM derive its moral authority to comment on the state of democracy in Venezuela or Ukraine or anywhere outside the region when it watches silently as St. Kitts Nevis' democratic underpinnings collapse. What is CARICOM's relevance to CARICOM nationals when it is more focused on the other instead of self? Is St. Kitts Nevis parliamentary impasse less relevant to the interests of our CARICOM nationals than medical marijuana or foreign relations with Turkey, which have all been tabled for discussion at the heads meeting?
And the leader of Team Unity, Dr. Timothy Harris, told the gathering that all is not well back home and thanked the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the New Democratic Party for coming to the aid of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The CARICOM leaders will not speak on the issues of political morality, the continuous and deliberate breaches of our Constitution, the undermining of democratic systems and institutions, and the threat to freedom and democracy as we know it, until the people of St. Kitts and Nevis do like the people of Venezuela and the Ukraine and start killing each other. Well, we in Team Unity do not agree with that notion, and we think it is a false proposition, because we see the civil unrest in the eyes of the people. We feel their uncertainty and despair because under this illegitimate Douglas regime, they do not know what the future holds for St. Kitts and Nevis.
The leaders of the two political parties, Team Unity of St. Kitts and Nevis and the local NDP, ended their presentations calling on CARICOM to act now and correct what they termed as the obvious wrongs. The leaders said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Jamisha Wright.
In the meantime, St. Kitts Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas called out his fellow countryman, Dr. Timothy Harris, referring to him as a power-hungry politician. Commenting on the joint protest action staged by the New Democratic Party here and the Team Unity of St. Kitts Nevis, Dr. Douglas told SVG-TV News Dr. Harris and his team need to understand the protocols of gaining the position of Prime Minister.
There is a question, it would appear, with Timothy Harris, who is power crazy and power hungry. He thinks that he can become the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis without going through what would be the normal constitutional procedures of the party of which he was a part, and also pertaining to, of course, the constitution of the country in determining how a Prime Minister is identified and appointed.
Prime Minister Douglas says he has been at the head of the Twin Island state for the past 19 years and warned that the prime ministership of his country is not a dynasty that would be handed over at any time.
Harris really wanted to become Prime Minister. Instead of asking me in December of 2012 to stand down and hand him the Prime Ministership, then the best thing to do is to contest the leadership of the party. The Prime Ministership of St. Kitts and Nevis, it is not part of a dynasty. We do not have a monarchy where the party or the parliament or the Prime Minister can hand over the Prime Ministership to someone else. It doesn't work like that.
Meanwhile, New Democratic Party leader Adam Eustace told the journalists that the present generation of CARICOM heads is neither proactive nor reactive.
We have been there before, yet CARICOM now stands aloof. 14 years ago in this country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, CARICOM's current chairman, Dr. Gonsalves, was beneficiary of the intervention of CARICOM heads in the affairs of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which led to the shortening of the life of the New Democratic Party administration. My brothers and sisters, you in CARICOM have plunged to dizzying depths of hypocrisy in your own silence on St. Kitts Nevis. We are stunned by your complicity in the most undemocratic status quo. In refusing even to table this crisis for discussion, you have become complicit in the attenuation of democratic structures of St. Kitts Nevis.
Dr. Timothy Harris is calling on CARICOM heads to remind their colleague, Dr. Denzel Douglas, that a majority rules in a democracy, noting that Team Unity now holds 6 out of the 11 seats in the St. Kitts Parliament. Dr. Harris went on to state that Vincentian Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves is fully aware of the illegitimacy of the current governing body in St. Kitts Nevis, but refuses to speak out.
Minister Gonsalves telephoned me on this matter in December of 2012. He telephoned the Deputy Prime Minister in 2012, all with a view to attempt to deal with this matter. He invited us to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He understood that what was happening in St. Kitts and Nevis was unacceptable. He wanted, he said, to preserve labor in St. Kitts and Nevis. There is a time when you must go beyond your friendship. There is a time when you must stand for principle, and standing for our conscience, and standing for our country, war for Sam Kanda and I, more important than sticking with Denzel Douglas.
In related news, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves says a collaborative protest action staged by the New Democratic Party is a prime example of that party's anti-national approach. Speaking to SVG-TV News, Prime Minister Gonsalves said under the leadership of Adam Eustace, the NDP has gone down the road of being anti-national. He said despite the delegations of CARICOM states witnessing the protest, they are in no way bothered by the protest.
Nobody's bothering. You think the heads here bothering at that? They're making fool of themselves, but what they're showing that they're always anti-national. Everything is anti-national. That has been their trademark. And they would lose support. But believe me, it hasn't embarrassed anybody. Certainly I don't feel embarrassed about it. People can protest, it's a democratic country.
The Prime Minister said he believes that former Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, was ill-advised in joining up with the NDP. He said in doing so, Harris lost the opportunity to be taken seriously.
If you want to appear successful, you associate with successful entities and you certainly avoid failures. What I think that he ought to have done was to have called me and said, Comrade Ralph, I'm coming to St. Vincent, you're aware of this issue in St. Kitts. I would like to know if I write you a letter to come and talk to you, that you would meet with me. And I said, sure, come, write me the letter. And I shared it with the Secretary General.
Still ahead on the news tonight, Inland Revenue Department commences Tax Awareness Month. More stories on the local scene when we come back. Stay with us. Taxation for you, taxation for me. Let's make it work for SVG. That's the theme under which the Inland Revenue Department is commemorating Tax Awareness Month. The department started off the month of activities with a church service this morning at the Kingstown Methodist Church. Controller of Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pumpy, states that the department has a difficult task ahead for the remainder of the month in collecting taxes.
It requires not just our strength, but the strength of Almighty God to see us through. And as we plan another year, as we go into another set of activities to inform and educate our taxpayers and to sensitize them and ultimately to get voluntary compliance, we must be reminded of Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. It says to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. And I think those are good words for us to be guided by as we try to educate our taxpayers and try to get the money that our Lord God is perhaps the best compliance officer that we can rely on.
The Embassy of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the Venezuelan Institute for Culture and Cooperation on Friday commemorated the first anniversary of the death of Hugo Chavez with the closure of the campaign Chavez Was Here. Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of the Republic of Venezuela, Elias Villalba, says the commemoration of Chavez's passing should not be one of sadness but of celebration.
And he has inspired so many people now to continue the labor, continue the fight with ideas, and not with arms, of course, towards a better tomorrow for all of us. But the fact of the matter is that today Venezuela is facing a very tough time, and many of you have been able to see in the news, in the media, especially the amount of attacks and the amount of violence that has taken place in Venezuela. It has been a fact that this has happened, and it's happening today. Even today it's been happening. But it is also a fact that our government has tirelessly been working towards controlling the situation, because it is a responsibility of the government to bring out the safety of the people of Venezuela and the safety of those who live within our borders.
A new committee has been established for the 2014 Fishermen's Month of activities. The members of the committee include Chairman Winsbott Harry, Deputy Chairman Jennifer Cruikshank Howard, Joselle Byron Secretary, Assistant Secretary Ferric Schott, Treasurer Recesby Jack, Alaika Jones Assistant Treasurer, Public Relations Officer Winfield Tannis, and Roxanne Pompey Assistant Public Relations Officer. Fishermen's Month will run from May 9th to June 9th, 2014. A theme and the slogan are expected to be announced soon.